Wow.
Wow, this is some really deep stuff.
I don't know what just happened, but something happened inside of me. Something snapped. Something.
I wasn't expecting that
either. Sorry.
It's okay. It's all right. It's beautiful.
Monster is like really small, but it had to become that to stop me.
And then the hurt child became present when you mentioned it.
And I didn't realize this until now.
There were things that I didn't remember until now.
Funny. I haven't seen that before.
It feels like I'm the monster. I'm kind of seeing images of things. Of a world where they can exist. This clarity brings all kinds of answers.
It's clear. She hugged me and then went back to her place, I guess, in my heart. Oh, it wants to come out. It wants to bippity boppity boop Cinderella me. She's melted into my chest. It's ooey gooey.
All week been finishing things, cleaning up more, started eating vegetables again last week. And it kind of just started happening. It's almost like I just finished going through a meditation session.
I feel light. When you hit that first joint, in the morning, and
I actually feel a lot more awake.
What's up? How you doing?
I'm doing pretty well. How's Vietnam?
It's so beautiful and fun.
Sweet.
Yeah.
I just spent some time in the company of some Vietnamese monks and nuns on this retreat that I went on last week. So I thought of you a few times because I was like, oh, James is in Vietnam.
Yeah.
I was in Mississippi, but amongst the company of quite a few.
Amongst the monks.
The monks and the nuns, yeah.
Oh, I said amongst the monks.
Oh, yes. Good one.
Yeah. I have yet to do that. That's on my list of people to hang out with here, but they're
an interesting note to have on a list. Hang out with.
Yeah.
Sweet. So, what have you been up to? What's the story over there?
Today I'm going to go shop for a longer term rental. So, and then there's a typhoon, which is just a hurricane. They call them typhoons over here, which is arriving in the next day or two. So it's getting kind of gray and scary looking, but it'll be okay.
Okay. Sweet.
Yeah.
So how long have you been there?
2 months.
Cool.
It's really cool. It's just fun and beautiful. Every day is exciting and enjoyable.
Sweet.
Yeah. Yep. Recommend it.
I've never been to that part of the world. I've been to India, and that's as close as I've gotten to that area, which is not all that close, I don't think, culturally or experientially. So,
yeah, there might be some similarities in the. I'm assuming India has bountiful, cheap street food like there.
Yes, and sometimes you get an added surprise with your street food.
Sure.
Yeah.
I've managed to avoid any super major, stomach food poisoning or whatever, but we'll see how long that lasts.
Yeah, I was not so fortunate. But it was okay. I still feel it was worth it.
Yeah.
for all the things I got to experience in exchange for some very unpleasant moments.
Yeah. Yeah, that's not fun.
No.
Okay. Yep. That's my update. I got lots of pictures I'd like to share someday.
Awesome. I would welcome that. I have not been on the Discord at all, really. So I don't know if you're sharing anything over there or not, but
not particularly.
No. Okay. Cool.
Anything else new that you want to share?
No, I don't think so. Not at this moment.
Okay.
Nothing that comes to mind.
Okay. I'm going to do IFS.
Yeah.
Okay. Shall we have some meditation, and how many minutes would you like?
I think I'm going to say 3 this time. I need to settle a bit. Yeah.
Okay. I'll set a timer.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Three minutes.
Okay.
That's nice. Thanks.
Yeah.
Do you have any parts that you'd like to get to know better today or change your relationship with?
As is often the case, there's quite a few that I'm kind of juggling in regards to what's most important today. I'm going to tell them all
Great.
that they are all important.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. So there were a few. There's one that in a way I didn't go. I signed up for this retreat a while back, but as it was nearing, I was feeling like, oh, this is going to be an escape in a way from a part that was getting like over activated. The stay informed part in regards to America and things that are going on here.
Yeah.
It's like this compelling, and it's somewhat more in check now, but like gobbling up information.
Yes.
Like, and earnestly trying to find truth, but also just like too much gobbling of media gobbler part. It's like, before I left, it was like any moment when I wasn't supposed to be doing something else, that's what or when I was doing other things, I'm listening to something, which, I mean, it's not an unusual, I'm always gobbling something in regards to information. This was feeling, I could feel that it was out of balance, but I just kept doing it. I just kept, it just kept grabbing the wheel. And then while I was on this retreat, there was some parts that popped up. They were offering this, like it was a Buddhist retreat, and they were offering these mindfulness trainings, like where one was being invited, very open invitation, no pressure at all, to receive these trainings and to like dedicate oneself to certain practices.
Yes.
And around that, there was a lot of activity of several parts. One was a word mincer who, was going over every line of these concepts, or, what you were basically committing to, and saying, mincing words. Right. We know about this. guys. And then there was hypocrisy police part that was saying, you can't, which, I mean, as I'm talking through this, none of this feels like a conflict at this point, but they were very active at the moment. Word mincer, hypocrisy police. And then there was, a part that very much likes to join things. And I'm having some trouble like parsing how much of that is a part, like a non-self, part, and how much of it is like a human desire, like be part of a community.
Right.
And then there's a part that rejects joining things because of things I've joined before that ended up, and some of them aren't like horribly disappointing. It's just like, eventually I just didn't want to be part of anymore. So all of them showed up for that party. And ultimately I decided, obviously this is not the time for me to do something like that. And it's okay if it's never the time, but they all, kind of got whipped up, especially in the absence of the information gobbler part who had nothing to do. So there was all of a sudden a space, for some other parts to jump in and want to do some things. So those are the ones that have been noticeable. And then I apologize if I always feel like I'm giving too many options for them, but like talking through who's there helps me.
Yeah, it's great.
But and I believe that, we've done some work around the rushing and the eating food too fast or doing anything too fast tendencies. And I think there are multiple parts involved in that. But yeah, we practice a lot of, like mindful eating and mindfulness in general, but really focused on a lot of mindful eating. And it was such a relief and such a lovely thing to do. And now I feel the rushing coming back in or trying to get back in. And I would really like to calm that drive, that like, all right, hurry up. There's something else to do. We got to do the things. There's so many things to do kind of part or parts. I think it's got more than one head. That.
Yep.
So.
Okay.
That's the committee that's present today. There they are.
I'm just curious how the stay informed part, how that's changed from before and after the retreat.
Well, it's more accepting of boundaries. It still tries to like sneak in more than I intend. Or just be like, yeah, this is cool. Let's do this. Like we're doing things. Let's do this. Let's listen to this. When there's thousands of other choices, millions of other choices of things to choose to take in while doing a chore. Some of them would make me, some of them would be more enriching than to, add more of that stuff. I had an idea coming home like, okay, this is a reasonable amount of this kind of thing to consume. And, when there's more time, that part is just like, yeah, click on that too. Click this. These people are legit. Let's listen to them.
Right.
And yeah, so it's calmer. It seems to be aware that it doesn't get to have all of the open time. But if I'm not somewhat vigilant about it, it just kind of like sneaks over to the controls, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, let's go with that one. That seems reasonable and time sensitive.
Okay.
Or what were you going to say?
Well, when you had finished your list before, it sounded like you were aiming for the eating too fast, rushing one. So,
well, they even sometimes are both active at the same time. Like if I'm not trying, I will sit down and eat my food, and there will be some, media of some sort coming in.
Yeah.
And that does not feel aligned with how I want to eat my food.
Yeah.
Especially, at all, period.
Right.
I don't want to do that. So they're both, they're conspirators in a way. Yeah.
Okay. So, which one should we start with? The stay informed part, gobbler, or the rushing eating?
Yeah, the rushing thing feels more complex because I still feel as though there are multiple parts doing that. I'd like to understand that better.
Okay. Start there.
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay. So, you're sitting down for a meal, you're rushing, eating too fast. What are the sensations in the body at that time?
I can't zero in on a particular location, but it's just a wound upness, and it's not just eating. It's like everything, da 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 da, do this, do that. But it bothers me the most, I guess, with this, because I make a pretty decent effort to eat well and beautifully. Like the food that I'm making is lovely, and then I'm not there for it,
right?
Which is not how it was, how I wanted it to be, generally speaking.
Yeah. Okay.
And the first time that we went towards this tendency, we met a few parts. We met like this scientist part, and we ended up meeting the dad part, but it's still going on, and I don't know that it has anything to do with them. So as I said, I think that it's a multi-part drive, like there's a coalition of parts that push that.
And then I think a part that just could enjoy sectioning an orange.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and as I said, it's not only about food. It's like there is a true, I believe, self-led desire to enjoy everything, more and more mindfully and more without this push. It feels like something is pushing me. Go, go, go.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So you feel like it's up at all right now?
Not right now. Probably because, it knows that this is a thing that's going to take a certain amount of time. I mean, I know that we don't have like exact minutes of our session, but it's like, It's more so when it's like when there's not a end point to something, it's like, well, if you do this, if you get this done faster, then more things can get done.
True.
And you can check more boxes.
Yes.
Spin more plates.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay. So part of its message is about productivity.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if that's the main kind of message you're feeling is like, this is why we should be rushing, is because there's more to do, or if there's other messages there or feelings there.
I don't pick up on anything but just like, hurry up, like get it done. You know, there's never going to be not something else to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Or that's, quote, supposed to be done or should be done.
Mm-hmm.
I have this habit tracker that I put up on my fridge, and like, I'm just coming to a realization that I just might not be capable of doing everything that I truly want to do, truly want to, like, you know, do strength training, and I truly want to meditate, and I truly want to do cardio stuff, and I truly want to have a peaceful nighttime thing, and blah, blah, blah. And it's like,
me too.
Even if I'm, yeah. So the plate's spinning, like, something has to give. And so I think the drive comes from like this holding on to the notion that maybe I can do all of the things.
Okay. How are you feeling towards the part right now
that thinks that? I feel compassion towards it, but I also feel like, you know, not confrontational, but contrarian, like, oh, honey, you know, just slowly coming to this real kind of understanding.
Yeah.
That the goals, the like of the goals for frequency of XYZ thing, they're never going to happen.
Okay. Yeah. And there might be truth to that. I don't know. I don't know if you do have enough hours in a day or what, but yeah. Okay. You just show it your compassion.
Immediately it's clear that, you know, that it is overworked and underpaid, you know?
Yeah.
Like, and again, I don't know if it's just one part that does. I don't think it's just one part, but there's a part that really, really believes, or wants to believe at least, that if we just hurry up, you know, like if we just hurry up and do everything, then you can do everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And if we can't do everything, how does it feel about that?
There's a lot of fear about health, and which is kind of funny because rushing around everything all the time doesn't feel healthy either. But there's fears about like health and like falling into disrepair, physically, not being able to meet the like physical demands of my job.
Yeah.
And then there's a comparing, there's like this belief that there are people who are doing all these things at the frequency that they're supposed to be done. And like, why can't we be them?
Yeah.
Why can't we be like these people who can spin all of the plates?
Okay. So the first concern that it's bringing up is about health and just being available, being in repair.
Yeah. Like physically strong, capable, competent. There's some, like, part of it is fueled by, like learning about what science says you need to do. Like there's a lot of, maybe the scientist is involved in this. I don't know. But like, there's a lot of like, well, the reason why we have the goal set where it is because that's what science told us to do. And so that's the optimum thing. And we need to try to make it work.
Sounds reasonable to me. Makes sense.
Yeah. It makes sense that this part has arrived there.
Right.
Yeah.
So maybe you could ask it if it wants to say more about what other concerns it has. Maybe you could ask, like, okay, let's say your health was 100 and it only took 10 minutes to keep it 100.
That would be amazing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh.
Is there more that this part has concerns about?
Well, I mean, then there would be less fear about, because my body is necessary for a lot of my work. So fears about the body are tied to fears about money. Right. So yeah, it's like, if health could be 100 in 10 minutes, then that would help a lot. But there's also the piece of it that's like, other people can do this.
Yeah.
Which I don't know if that's really true. Maybe they can. Maybe like your Atia is doing all those things.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know.
Okay. And how does it feel about that? Like, what comes up kind of emotionally when it just considers that other people might be doing all of this?
It's like a FOMO, like fear of missing out on experiencing optimal, functioning and health and success.
All right. Success. Does it have more it wants to say about success? I'm just curious.
Yeah, it's like about being, good enough and stuff.
Okay. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling neutral at the moment.
Okay.
There's a part that's like, kind of a vulnerability police part that's like, but it's not too powerful.
Yeah. It's just looking out for stuff that might feel too vulnerable, like when we get into the good enough feeling.
Yeah. I have a really strong part that hates, quote, being pathetic or being pitied by anyone. And I feel like it's jumping up like, let's not,
Okay. Yeah.
Let's not be pathetic. Let's not go towards the topic where we might end up, cracking and, being quote. But again, it's like it's a faint showing.
Well, it's also welcome.
Yeah.
I wonder if it's tied to the measure of success. Is like that's part of success is never being pitied and never having those kind of feelings.
Someone who was having an optimally functioning life.
Right. They don't have to deal with that stuff.
Right.
Yeah. So it sound optimal.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah. The flavor of it is just like, and I can feel that the part. No, this happens a lot. I feel like, but the part knows that what it's saying isn't solid. But it's like, maybe if if you just try harder, and maybe if you just hurry up, and maybe if you just learn how to wake up earlier or stop doing XYZ, maybe we can do all the things.
Yeah.
Check off all the boxes on the little habit tracker thing.
Right. Well, and it's also basing that in science, right? It's got the scientific backing. What feels right next?
Let me try to get more settled for a moment. At the moment, what feels right is just to try to observe the part. It's takes a while sometimes for parts to show up in a visual way, and I'm just seeing gripping, like almost a few different images, but like the part kind of hanging from a rope and kind of sliding and trying so hard to just desperately trying to hold on to kind of this belief.
Yeah.
I can feel like there's emotion rising, like and I'm not asking the part to give up the belief, but just like at the even notion of letting go of the push to try and try and try and try. And there's a contrarian part that's jumping up, being like, well, what, are you going to just not try at all?
Yeah. You mentioned the word desperation.
Yeah. The part that wants me to hurry up and try harder is like, it's holding on like white knuckle.
Yeah.
To the idea that if we just go with its agenda of hurry the fuck up, do the things, inhale the food, go for a walk, do the strength training, and those aren't those are just the things that are on the little habit tracker thing. There's 1,000 other things that is like, we have to do this, we have to do that, we have to make sure that we can hire the landscaper, whatever. And yeah, it is desperate. It's desperate. It's like desperate not to not believe, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
I guess I could just say it's desperate to believe, but
that it's all possible.
It feels wrong. Yeah. It's like,
yeah,
it's like, I don't want to not believe.
Right. Would it feel okay to ask more about what happens if it did relax its grip some? And I want to acknowledge that we do have a list already. There is the importance of your health.
Yeah.
There is the feelings of.
Just like, the first word, the word that comes to encapsulate the list is failure.
Yeah.
Failure and just kind of becoming like slovenly and lazy and stuff.
Yeah.
Unmotivated.
Mm-hmm.
It's afraid that if we don't believe that we can do it all, then we won't believe that we can do anything.
Right. Yeah.
Or won't feel driven to do things that are important.
Yeah. And then it's worried about you just being unmotivated, lazy.
Yeah. Yeah. And, just failing to keep up. And giving up on those things that are on the list.
Yeah. Okay. How would it feel to show it some appreciation for its intention?
As I'm doing that, this is funny. So, I'm seeing this image of this me looking part holding onto this rope, like desperate not to let go of it. And as I'm I was seeing myself. So I got inside there and I was, just there next to it, showing it appreciation. And all of a sudden it looks down and it notices, like the floor is not far away. Like it's hanging from this rope, but it's not over a cliff or anything. And so it was like, it looks down and it's like, all of a sudden it seems silly. And it's kind of like, there's a moment where it just looks at me like, And so let me make sure I'm close. Now she's showing me her hands are like bleeding and calloused from trying to hang on.
Yeah. Okay. Yep. Just stay with that appreciation. All those things that she's working for, they do all matter.
Yeah. I'm just kind of telling her I'm on board with my health and being motivated and caring about stuff and all of that.
How about asking how long she's been doing this?
That came up early, like in my perception. I sensed it because It's a long time.
Yeah.
I don't feel like it's since childhood, but I feel like it's since like teenager times. Like once we kind of gained enough knowledge of the world to know that these things were important.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, obviously there were less things to do when you're a teenager than later, but I've been trying for a long time.
Okay.
Yeah. Like spinning plates.
Yeah.
There have definitely been times when I walked away from all the plates and they all fell and broke, but we always come back and start spinning them again.
Yeah. How about the retreat? Like, how does it have anything it wants to say about its experience? I mean, that's a time when you're kind of walking away from everything, right? I don't know if it wanted to share its feelings about that.
And I feel like she acknowledges I'm trying to make sure I'm not putting words in. But like when you asked the question, the first thing I heard was, I liked that. Like, it's nice.
Yeah.
But then, when you get back to your regular life, it's like, all right, put the plates on.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's definitely less, but I get that she sees that there's a whole like aspect of well-being that is ignored by the plate spinning, even though meditation and relaxation is on the habit tracker.
Great. Yeah.
I'll tell you, like for several weeks, I'd be like, oh, wait, that's the one I didn't do at all.
Right.
And now I'm doing that and other things I'm not doing. It'd be nice to find a happy medium.
Yeah. So how does she feel about that? Like, does she want to help and be involved in that happy medium life, or does she feel like?
Okay. I'm seeing a new image. So the rope is still the same. So we were just, as is often the case, in a dark, it's often with me, it's like a featureless space. Like there's a floor and there's not very much light. And there we are. And there was the rope. And then when you said that, the background, the rope was still there, but the background became like a river scene and the rope was like a rope swing. And as you were saying that, she just took off and jumped into the river. So I'm taking that as a yes.
Fun.
It was a joyous jumping, not a trying to get away from me kind of jumping.
Yeah. So I'm kind of thinking of a metaphor of like, well, I've climbed the rope so that I can jump off. That's, I'm enjoying both of those kind of.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense in a way that I feel like it'll make more sense. You know what I mean? Like reverberate sense. Yeah.
Okay. So what does she need from you in helping design and be in that happy medium kind of lifestyle?
First, she needs me to, because I'm still up there where she jumped off. So she's like, well, first you need to come down here. Okay. So let me climb the rope myself. which is a thing. Like rope swings kind of scare me, and I very rarely do them. You know, I'm like, yeah, good for you guys. That looks great. She seems amused to see me. Okay, so now I'm in the water with her. So let me ask, can you ask, I know what question you asked, but sometimes when you're speaking, they speak.
Yeah. What does she need from you? Just in order to get to that place of not feeling like she has to be desperately climbing in that way.
What I'm getting is like she wants me to create the program and not based on the science, you know, like not based on you got to do 150 minutes of zone 2 cardio per week or else, you know, she's like, you do it, you make it up, like you take care of it.
Yeah.
And don't, like, if you want to be more mindful and peaceful, if you want me to be that, then create a program that we can do.
Yeah.
Like, you be in charge of it.
Yeah.
And she says, you know, that she is who she is. And so I might have to remind her a lot that I'm in charge now.
Okay. Are there more specifics to kind of plan around like what that would look like for you to be in charge of creating that program?
Yeah. What I get from her, she seems to want to not, like, she's like, no, she wants to float. Or I also saw her like laying down with like a bunch of lotion and salve on her hands and stuff, you know, like,
yeah,
it's one of those, you know, how sometimes the parts are just like, oh, I don't have to do this. Goodbye. That's done. She seems not to have any specifics at this moment.
Okay.
She reserves the right to give input later.
Okay.
But there's not any specifics other than like to base the goals not on outside, you know, sources like so-and-so scientists said you have to do it this many times. You know, she's like, she's basically saying, if you're going to, you know, if self is going to be in charge of this, then self needs to be in charge of it, not somebody else. Like, if we're not going to follow, you know, these rigid standards from outside, then you have to it has to come from inside.
Right.
Like, I guess, like, I have to be able to communicate with all of the parts that might come up around these things, that it's time now in this life to learn what works for us or me.
Yeah. Right.
As an individual, not as a, you know, a specimen of human organism.
Right.
You know? Like, okay, well, that's what those guys said, and we can't do it. So what do we need to do to be well from the inside out?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm sure there are other parts involved that, she's like, if you're going to be in charge, you have to be in charge.
Right. Yeah. I know there was another part saying like, well, what are you going to do? Not try at all? And it's kind of like, no, that's not the answer. And you have learned so much science and all this other stuff that you can still be informed by. You're not going to just throw all that out and be like, oh no, exercise is bad.
Right. I actually do enjoy it.
Right.
It's just that I don't enjoy trying to do as much of it as I am told by legitimate, informations that I have to do. It is detrimental to my well-being, even if it is beneficial to my, biological health.
Sure.
To be that, to have these unrealistic expectations. I don't know who the other parts are, but I just feel like she's giving me this look about, there's going to be other parts to wrestle with around this.
Right. Yep. Yeah. One thing you could look out for as maybe kind of a primary part to look out for would be, I would say, kind of the exiles, any parts that are, if there is that kind of not good enough or whatever else that might be, that maybe she could point you towards, or that you could just get a feel for and bookmark for, to at least look out for.
Yeah. Those would be younger. Those would be, as is often the case, from mom stuff, probably. I don't have my finger on them yet, but she's acknowledging that she came into her intensity as a teenager.
Yeah.
But that failure to measure up comes from then and before. And I will say, I think the last time that you and I spoke, there was the part that's always jumping up and being like, no more mom stuff and all that.
Yeah.
And I really do feel like that part has called a truce on intruding. So
I
think we'll make headway. I think it's like, all right, have at it. So I think that there's opportunity to go there without so much
resistance.
Sure. Yeah. And this part is just another protector that's like, okay, I'm good, I'll go swimming. She seems to be enjoying that a lot.
Yeah. Okay. And she's trusting that you are going to do some program creation.
Yeah. Or just
modification.
I don't think she's like, you're going to decide the number of times that everything needs to be done, but from the taking it to the foundation of these things are important, and let's see what the natural rhythm really is. Which, as I'm saying that, I know that it changes seasonally because, number one, it is too effing hot in Florida to go walking all the time in the summertime.
Definitely.
It's nuts.
Yeah.
And it's about to be not that.
Yeah,
so I'll be back
I'm
to
with
that.
you. I try to design my perfect day and get all my habits in there, and then it's like, oh yeah, I can't walk in the middle of the day. That's out. I can't work out at this time of day, and then in the winter, it's like, oh, it's dark now. It's just, yeah.
Not to you, but to me. She's still swimming away from me, and she like put her hands around her mouth and called out, "Perfect days don't exist." Like, for me, you might have them, but I mean, perfect days exist, but they usually don't have anything to do with habit trackers. You know, they're like the day when you're just like, I'm gonna go swimming or whatever. So, yeah, I think there's definitely, of course, little fearful parts about failing or not measuring up in some way around. But for now, I feel like there will be more space to, find my way with like the various things I want to pursue.
Yeah. I think it's sweet that just now you talked about your perfect day. It's like, go swimming. And I have the same feeling of like, well, what I really want to do is go get a bunch of exercise that's fun. It's like, what I really want to do is go play in the park with a Frisbee and all this other stuff. It's like, oh yeah, that is a bunch of exercise.
Yeah. So I think I'm going to need to make my way to a river soon.
Nice.
Before, while it's still good and hot for that.
Yeah.
It's reminding me it's still good and hot for some swimming. I think I can do that soon too.
Nice. Anything
Maybe
else?
I'll even swing off of a rope swing. Like a crazy person.
Yeah. Anything else this part wants to share with you or ask of you while you have its attention?
I just get that this part is relieved of this perpetual project.
Yeah.
And it wasn't this part that said the thing about not trying, but whatever part that was seems pleased as well. Like, I feel like that fear has been somehow assuaged. Because I really enjoy all these things that I want to do.
Right.
I just, can't do them all 4 or 5 times a week or whatever the thing is. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. Can't wait to hear how it goes. And
yeah, I think it's going to be good. And I'll tell you, I think for sure, at the very least, that the dinner that I'm about to prepare is going to be savored satisfyingly.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right. I'm inspired.
Thanks. Me too.
Me too. Okay.
Yay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Very nice to reconnect.
Yeah, you too.
Yeah, glad they're having a good time over there. And maybe look forward to some pictures sometime.
Yes, they're coming.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. I'll be in touch. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
Do you want to help bring more self-energy to the world? If you'd like to participate in calls or help out with this project in any way, I'd love to hear your ideas. Join the Discord server or contact me at james@liveifs.com. A huge thanks to our audio engineer, Yvonne, for your care and diligence in editing the calls. To every caller for your courage in sharing some of your parts. And to anyone out there getting to know their internal system, keep going. Who knows, that might be the most selfless, helpful thing you can do for others, and you're the only one who can do it. If you'd like to see us reach the largest audience, We must please the almighty suggestion algorithms at iTunes and YouTube, and they don't care about the power of IFS. They're looking for likes and shares and comments, and the sooner the better. Follow the links in the show notes right here in your podcast player to make your wishes known. And now, a minute of meditation. Or if you prefer, pull over. You can do it in 60 seconds. Just click one of those links. They're right there, and give us a like or a 5-star rating. It would really help. If you think this project is helping people, you're helping people by sharing it. Thank you.